4:01. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Our first item is our Pledge of Allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Tiring, exhausting.
Mr. Vice Chair, could you read our mission statement?
The mission of the Marshall Public School District is to educate, support, and prepare all learners for success.
Thank you. Approval of the agenda. Do we have a motion?
I'll move.
Second.
Any additions or corrections? If not, please vote. It is approved. Move on to our nominations. For nominations, the first one is for board chair. Do we have any nominations?
I'd nominate Jeff Chapman.
Do we have any other nominations? And for the third time, do we have any other nominations? We'll move on to vote. Need a motion was by Aaron. Matt seconds. We'll vote, please. It is approved. Nominations for vice chair. Do we have a motion?
Nominate Matt Coleman.
Any other nominations? And for the third time, are there any other nominations? Hearing that, I'll vote. I'll second that, and we'll vote, please. It is approved. Nominations for a school board clerk. Do we have a nomination?
I nominate Bill Malso.
And do we have any other nominations? And for the third time, do we have any other nominations? I'll second that. Call for a vote. It is approved. Nominations for school board treasurer. Do we have a nomination?
I nominate Aaron Zemer.
Do we have any other nominations? And for the third time, do we have any other nominations? Hearing none, I'll second that. Call for a vote. Is approved. Approval for the 2020-21 meeting dates. Motion to approve. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, please vote. It is approved. Approval of the 2020 board committees. Motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussions? Everybody okay with where they're at? Call for a vote. It is approved. Approval of the said board of directors compensation. Motion to approve.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote.
I think it'd be important that we note it's the same as it has been for years, so that the public knows that no one's accepting any raise. We're a bargain.
Very good. Please vote. Is approved. Approval of the 2020-21 budget parameters. Do I have a motion?
I move.
I'll second.
It's open for discussion. Hearing none, please vote. It is approved. Authorization to solicit bids for the new second to fourth elementary school project. Motion to approve. Need a second. And now it'll be open for discussion.
Dave, Chris, you guys want to talk through this for us, please?
Okay. Thanks again for inviting us here. David Maroney, ATS&R Architects. And tonight is the night that we unveil the design for your new elementary school. So it's a pretty exciting night. Chris?
Chris Seymour, ICS Consulting, here to just report on efforts and budget moving forward.
I'm going to lower the mic a little bit here. Let's begin. Okay, recall this is how we track things. These are the basic parameters that we're working with the new elementary design. It's for 600 students, grades 2 through 4. Current physical size of this building is 83,450 square feet, located on the Marshall site. We're going to be bidding it in February and get it under construction this spring and open it up fall of 2021. Those are the budgets, and those are what we're accountable for. Here's a indication of the site plan. This is basically a product of a lot of review with the city, a lot of review with the Safe Pathways to School groups, and the overall design. So basically what we've got here is South Saratoga, East-South view. We've got our entrance point. This is a two-way stop that's being created here at this intersection. And we've got a left turn lane and a turn in. So basically, we're able to access the site at this point right here, and that creates a stacking dimension for a queue for pickup and drop-off of over 1,000 lineal feet, equivalent of about 54 cars. So very generous that way. I think it's very well thought through. The receiving is separate. It's connected with the middle school receiving with this new roadway, connects here to the receiving area. Plus, there's some support area parking for the custodians, kitchen workers, that type of thing at that location. This is primarily the staff lot out in front here. We have some visitor spots along this route here, and we've got our handicap spots here. There's a total of, these are the parking requirements. Basically, the city ordinance requires 41 spots on site, and we're providing a total of 94, actually, to suit the needs of the school for the staff and for the visitors. Of that, we have 4 handicap, 11 visitor, 6 in the receiving, 70 in the staff, 91 total. We have space on site for 10 buses, and those are located right here, totally separate from any of the parent drop-off or the teacher traffic. This bus area creates a nice overflow event parking of 61 spaces, so that can be used strategically to allow even more on-site parking. There will be a crosswalk at the bus entry here, which would be that's the Safe Routes to School grant, right? That there's going to be some provisions for the signage of that, correct? Yes.
The other entrance, the first entrance, did you say that's going to be a two-way stop or?
It's a two-way stop for any of the traffic on
So the
the Southview.
traffic on Southview
Goes through.
Won't stop?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep. A lot of thought put into that with the traffic study and meeting with the city, the Safe Routes, and
It was
This-
determined that a four-way wouldn't be needed at those intersections,
Yep.
given the flow of the traffic coming in and out.
It's a lot like Saratoga looks,
But like it is
basically.
now.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, good question. Thank you. We do have an alternate bid, which will affect the amount of on-site parking. I'd like to discuss that with you right now. This is the alternate bid. We'd be adding an additional 18 spots in addition to the 91, so 100 in total, 109 on total. Basically, it's taking this area here and starting to fill it in, not unlike what was done at the high school a few years after it was opened. Also extending 4 more spaces at the receiving area, just to be able to enhance the on-site parking as a possibility, assuming that the bids come in lower than what we expect. Okay? This is the final configuration of the building. We have, of course, the main entry on the east side of the building. That's associated with the administration. We've got our safe, secure entry here, controlled entry point. Same protocols we're using in the other buildings. And so we've got basically a containment area within that office area, which will lock in anybody in that and not allow them to actually go into the building. If they do get out of that, there's a secondary zoning point right here. This pair of doors basically secures the entire south end of the academic area, both floors, from an intruder. The activities area on the north side of the consists of the cafeteria, the kitchen area, the receiving area. We've got the music rooms adjacent to the gymnasium, and you can see the classrooms as we've been colored up. We've reviewed these several times. You can start to see the colorations of the special ed, the integration of that. Basically grade level, 4th grade on 2 floors, 2nd grade on the 1st floor, 3rd grade on the 2nd floor. We've got our flexible areas and breakout areas, as well as student lockers in these common areas between the classrooms. An alternate bid could possibly affect the size of the gym, in other words, making it larger. And so I'd like to show you that right now. That basically adds 20 feet to the north end of the gym, widening it so that we're able to get full width practice courts, the 2 east-west courts, the ones that are denoted as JV size courts. We'd increase the width of that to full width so you can have true 3-point shooting practice on 4 hoops in the gymnasium as a result of that alternate. We also get additional bleachers on the north wall as well, so now you can set it up with 2 games, which would have seating. Here's the exterior image of the building. You can see the materials that we've been talking about. It's all brick. We've got some metal around the entryway. We also have some metal strategically used in the higher areas, the mechanical areas, basically lighter weight, cost-effective solutions. You can see that little bit of that clear story popping up here. That's pretty much the highest point of the building right there. This is the main entry. Lots of glass at the main entry. Otherwise, the building really has a lot of nice size, regular kind of, I'm not going to call them punched openings, but in a way they're very regular, economical framed windows.
Safety glass.
Yes, it's tempered glass, for sure. Yep, and the glass around the entry here is all of that bullet resistant, I shouldn't say bullet resistant, I'm going to call it shatter resistant glass, laminated glass. Yep, good point. So let's step inside the building. This is coming into the main entry. The administrative office is just to the left in this image, and you can start to see that commons area, the cafeteria. And some inspirational messaging here, and some of the design taking place. Nice, welcoming, large, open feel. This flooring is very utilitarian as far as it's a nice walk-off mat. It's going to really capture a lot of the, dirt and things like that when you're coming into the building. So very practical that way. Here's an image of the gymnasium. Again, nice open. We do have some windows on the north side so that we don't get any direct light into the gym as far as glare, but we do get a nice open feeling in that gym.
Will there be any bleachers at all if without the alternate bid?
Yes, base bid has bleachers on the south end. About 140 to 150 seats. Now we're going to go take a little video tour here. So this. Okay, so we're kind of floating around the building here a little bit, but you can start to see as we're coming from the east side, As if you were kind of driving in on the visitor drop-off pickup area, approaching the main entry. Nice covered canopy there for waiting, protecting. We're inside the building. Trying to use some material strategically just to kind of warm the space up. A little bit of a wood grain look on that ceiling up there and on that wall, even though it's tile on the wall, so it's very durable. It's not real wood. Okay, so this is actually the entry for one of the two lines going into the serving area. This is the other entry for the students. So this door will open up for cafeteria time, and the students will flow in and then flow out in that pattern out into the space. Very efficient. I'm going to go back. Okay, now let's go upstairs here. This is in the classroom area. Now you start to see what it looks like up on the second floor. Here's that clear story element, which is kind of, without this element, it's really a very interior type of space, but this really allows that natural light to come in into this lab that's on the second floor as well as the first floor. Here's the stairway down to the first floor, primary stairway. This gives us our volume here where we can get in some of these learning tools that are embedded into the walls as far as like how high things are, and allows the students to kind of interact with that on a daily basis as they go up and down the steps. They can see the information on these message areas. These are also areas where those lockers are, like we talked about, so these are a locker bank associated with the classrooms. So again, this is a breakout area for this end of the building. A lot of natural light brought into the interior of that space, and I really think it creates a nice welcoming area. Here's a view of the media center. This would be looking to the south. That's the other large glass area. Cafeteria is one, media center is the other. It's a two-story space, so we're actually getting natural light into the core of the building this way also, as well as the upper floors of the building. So you can see the book shelving, the circulation desk here, some casual reading areas here, and at the end, some benches, and again, just some kind of inspirational graphics and things to really kind of create a nice learning environment. Here's a view of one of the other commons areas on the second floor. And these are these little cave spaces that we call it. It looks like it's wide open, but it's a piece of glass here, so it's a little bit semi-private as far as sound-wise, but yet still full supervision into that space. Nicely lit, does all sorts of things. It brings natural light into the space, but it also allows a little kind of a nook to be used for small group learning. So we're seeing the other side of that. And again, using some fun colors to delineate the different areas of the building for orientation so that the students kind of understand where they are in the building based on color and some of the creative words here. Classroom. You can see the primary teaching wall here is really a marker board with an interactive video display. You know, basically a lay-in ceiling. We've got carpeting on the floor for the most part. We've got a little bit of tile in the wet areas. You know, we do have sinks in each of the classrooms. But again, very functional, very utilitarian, very nicely lit with the amount of daylight into those rooms too. And another video. Okay, now we're on the classroom area here. We just walked through those zoning doors, those security doors, and we're walking into the first floor flexible team learning area. You can start to see you can have a variety of seating, little benches for students, nice transparent. You can see all the way through to the media center actually inside here. You can see into the classrooms. We're going up the steps now. And you're starting to understand how that natural light pours into that core of that building, and then that also gets translated through into the lab space that's right here, and we'll just kind of step foot into the classrooms. So each one of these flexible areas are wrapped with classrooms. So there's a lot of connectivity to that. You can actually see out into that if you have students out there doing some small group work. And I think there's basically 6 of those flexible areas in the building. Okay, so that's what the building looks like. We're pretty excited about it. These are a description of some alternate bids that we're going to have in play at the bid opening. The first one we already talked about here, let me advance this here, would be to basically expand the base size gymnasium. And that, like we talked about, gives you your full width courts and some additional bleacher seats for that. So that'll be an alternate bid. So we'll get a price on that. Let me do alternate number 2 first. Alternate number 2 is what we have on the roof on the building is a 90 mil, 30-year, fully adhered EPDM roof. It's not like what we put on the high school. That was a ballasted roof, and I believe it was a 15 or 20 year at the most. I think it was even 15 years. So this is a much more durable roof. It's fully adhered, twice the thickness of membrane, and very competitive as far as multiple manufacturers for that. So that's what we're targeting here. What we are doing is we're creating an alternate bid to make sure that we have the ability to see what the value is for one of the providers that we're very familiar with in the district and does a lot of your roofing already. So we want to make sure that if they're the base bid, they're acknowledged there, and then we can accept that alternate and make sure we get that manufacturer. Or what the premium is. If it's another $100, let's do it. You know, that kind of a thing. So it allows us some flexibility after the bid opening. The additional parking, we talked about that a little bit. That's really to infill a portion of that triangle and then get some more parking on the receiving area. And that'll be an additional hard surface alternate bid. The next one would be alternate 4 is additional parking, you know, if we do that with concrete. So we want to make sure that we understand the best value of the materials that are going to be in the parking lots. It ebbs and flows. Sometimes asphalt, blacktop, if you will, is less expensive than concrete. Sometimes concrete actually becomes less expensive, depends on the price of oil. So a lot of oil in the pavement, in the asphaltic pavement. So this allows the contractor to really put their best foot forward and for us to get the best price and get the most durable long-range material. Here's a concrete alternate for pavement, all of it, including the bus area and everything. Here's an alternate bid for face brick. Talked about the exterior of the building. It's basically 2 colors of brick. We got the dark brick on the lower portion. We got the lighter brick on the top. It's all a utility size brick. Again, very efficient, economical brick. It's what's at the high school. The red and the white brick are all utility bricks. That's our base bid. The design has the ability to allow for an alternate bid for a smaller module brick and a little bit higher decorative feel to it, a little bit more patterning, and we've got that built into this alternate. So again, we're going to see it more than likely as an add in price. We need to evaluate the value of that. That's the face brick alternate. Hydronic piping, we've got good quality piping in, but we also want to test the waters to see if a fully welded system, which is, again, better, what's the value of that? And then we're able to evaluate that in the fit with the overall project. We also have carpeting manufacturer. Right now, the district is using a certain type of carpeting everywhere in the carpet replacements that are going on. This last year, next year. So if we want to maintain consistency, what's the value of that? So again, we're just building in some things to allow us to control the final product selections in some cases and physical sizes of parking and building. Any questions? Okay, these are our next steps. So tonight is tonight. We'd love to hear authorization to release these documents so the contractors can start to do their work. Our plan is to issue them this week to the contractors. Scheduled right now is a pre-bid walkthrough for the contractors. Well, walkthrough of what? I mean, it's an open site. Well, we allow the contractors to come onto the site and basically gather information and allow us to be able to talk to each other a little bit. Find out, you know, maybe they got an idea about something that we need to consider. So then we're able to implement that into the bid structure. So again, it's an opportunity for us to engage with contractors and for them to become interested in your project. Bid opening scheduled for February 6th. After that, success. Let's assume success on that one. And we've got our pre-awards, recommendations, and then we'd be scheduled to award the bid on the 17th of February. That happens about a week or so after the Parkside cycle. How it fits with the overall bond schedule? You know, basically, we're going to be starting construction on this in the spring. It's going to go through essentially, you know, one full summer and most of the second summer, so it's ready for opening fall of 2021. How that correlates with West Side decommissioning, that type of thing, that would follow. Those dates would be to be determined.
You had interest in the new building?
We do actually, and we're continually being proactive and calling and reaching out as well, so. Sioux Falls Market, even the Twin Cities, we're getting some calls. This building being a new building seems to be generating a lot of interest. I guess we'll continue to monitor that, but hopefully that brings the contractors to the table.
Better competition.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Questions? Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Drive safely.
Will do.
No further questions, call for a vote. Motion is approved. Authorization to solicit requests for proposal RFPs for West Side School. Motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second?
Open for discussion.
Dion, you want to kind of walk us through this quickly, if you wouldn't mind?
So with meeting with the facility committee, we thought it was important to do an RFP for the West Side School facility, building and land. We wanted the initial RFP to be for the building and land as is. So that's what this RFP is. We'll see what kind of proposals we receive. If we don't receive any proposals, or the proposals we receive are not accepted, then we would look at doing an RFP, most likely after demolition of the building for just the land, but that'd be further discussion with the facilities committee.
Questions, board? Hearing none, we'll call for a vote. It is approved. Approval of the 2019-20 revised budget. Motion.
So moved.
I'll second.
It's open for discussion.
Just cover a few things on this. Tricia, if you can open that first attachment. I won't go through all of them because I tried to put some notes in for you guys to be able to see what the differences are. There wasn't a lot of movement in the overall fund balance. We're still looking at deficit spending in the general fund, but a couple of things that you'll see, the expenditures under purchase services and under what I put letter D for capital expenditures. The majority of that increase is due to the safety grant. The original budget we did back in January did not include that. And so the revised budget includes both the expenditures and the revenue for that safety grant. So that was the biggest movement there. And then if you scroll down to letter J, Trish, I just wanted to point out that school safety, that $86,265 is the one-time money provided by the state because of the surplus that they had. So that's the revenue for it. We did put in the expenditures to spend some of that money on some safety and security items throughout the district. And then if you go down to letter N, just wanted to point out that Title IV money will be ongoing, but that was the first time the Title IV money, actually not the first time, but the Title IV money came back to being offered this year, and that, as far as I know, I think it's 3 or 4 years out. So hopefully that'll continue. And then if you go down to letter S, this is in our capital expenditures. For the LTFM, just wanted to point out that $100,000 difference. That was for the adding of the pool roof repair that you guys authorized to add to the current roofing project that will be done this summer. Other than that, if you can open that other attachment, Tricia. Like I said, there wasn't a lot of movement. Go through the budget line by line, trying to compare from original budget updates, if there were any retirements, new hires. And there was an increase in expenditures and revenue, but overall, for the general fund, we went from a $296,000 deficit to a projected $241,000, so it did head in the right direction. Food service went up a little bit, excess from $7,250 to $25,250. Transportation decreased, our deficit decreased about $30,000 from original, so that's good. Got a little ways to go. Hopefully we can get to break even on that for our deficit spending. Community services, the excess increased a little bit from $18,250 to $53,972, so that's heading in the right direction. Capital didn't move much, about $3,000 in excess. And then debt service moved a little bit. There was some proceeds from the bond sale, and then also the debt excess we had to pay back kind of offset each other a little bit. And any questions you guys have?
Thank you. We'll go ahead and vote. It is approved. Now we need to move to close the meeting for expulsion. Motion to close. Do we have a second?
Second.
Vote. Meeting is now closed. Meeting is now open. We'll continue. So we got consideration and potential action related to the resolution of expulsion. Motion to expel. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, please vote. Motion passes. Moving on to our consent agenda, motion to approve. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, please vote. It's approved. Public forum. Is there anybody in the public that would like to approach the board? Now's your time. Board forum. Anybody have anything you'd like to bring up? Nope.
You heard tonight with ATS&R about the various things going on with the building plans, so those are continuing to meet. I've also had the opportunity to meet with Tiffany Teskey in relation to the board goals, so.
Very good. Moving on to our discussion items, second reading of policies 706 through 710. Anybody have any questions? And meeting is adjourned.